Caitlin Clark, it has been revealed that Ice Cube offered her $1.5 million per game. And this is my favorite thing, is that the Big 3...
What kind of person looks at life-changing wealth? An amount of money that could rewrite not only their future, but their family's entire legacy, and simply says, no thanks. That's the very question echoing through arenas, sports talk shows, and social media feeds ever since Caitlin Clark, arguably the brightest name in basketball today, turned down an almost unbelievable $15 million offer from Ice Cube's Big 3 league. Yes, you heard that right, $15 million. And not over years, not stretched out across a career. For just 10 games, 10 appearances on the hardwood, worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million each. To put that in perspective, most people will work their entire lives and never touch a fraction of that number. That's private island money. That's never work again money. That's set up your grandchildren for life money. And Caitlin Clark, still at the start of her professional career, had the contract in her hands and walked away. Why? Because for Clark, the decision wasn't just about the bank account. It was about legacy. It was about loyalty. It was about the bigger picture for women's basketball. And by saying no to Ice Cube's massive gamble, she's done more than protect her own trajectory. She's triggered a storm of debate about money, influence, and the future of professional hoops. What could possibly make someone turn down that kind of fortune? And what does this reveal about the fragile balance of power between the WNBA, alternative leagues like the Big 3, and the players who are now rewriting the rules? To really understand the shockwaves of this decision, you need to rewind. When Ice Cube launched the Big 3 in 2017, it was marketed as a showcase for NBA legends who'd already said goodbye to the grueling 82-game schedule. Half-court, 3-on-3 battles with familiar names: Allen Iverson, Chauncey Billups, Joe Johnson. Nostalgia mixed with entertainment. A league built for fans who wanted to see their old favorites one more time. But as the seasons rolled on, something became clear. The Big 3 needed more than nostalgia to thrive. Ratings plateaued. Interest faded outside hardcore hoops fans. And by 2024, the league was desperate for mainstream relevance. They needed a name that could pull headlines, break through social media, and get casual fans to care. That name was Caitlin Clark. Fresh off rewriting NCAA history, Clark was more than just a rising star. She was a ratings magnet. Record-breaking viewership followed her everywhere. College arenas sold out. WNBA games featuring her exploded in numbers, and even practices with shaky camera footage went viral online. She wasn't just a player, she was a phenomenon, and the Big 3 wanted in. Their first offer was already unheard of: $5 million for a short summer stint. 10 weeks, 10 games, essentially a glorified exhibition tour. But when Clark didn't immediately bite, the Big 3 upped the stakes in a way no one saw coming. They tripled it. Suddenly, the deal ballooned to $15 million.
The $15 million, that's life-changing money for anyone, let alone a rookie athlete. So where did this unbelievable offer come from, and why on earth would Caitlin Clark turn it down? So the offer, as you guys can see in the article on the screen, was from the Big 3, the 3-on-3 basketball league founded by the one and only Ice Cube. And the first offer was already huge, a cool $5 million ball. But in a sign of just how desperate they were to get Clark, they tripled it, blowing it up to a...
For perspective, the WNBA's current maximum salary sits around $249,000 for an entire season, meaning Clark could have earned in one Big 3 game what most of her peers would have to play 60 years to collect. The math was almost insulting in its clarity. That's why the sports world went crazy. It wasn't just about the dollar signs. It was about what her refusal meant. This wasn't an athlete politely declining a contract. This was a 22-year-old rookie publicly rejecting the kind of payday that reshapes industries. And in doing so, she sent a very loud, very clear message. The future of basketball doesn't lie in quick cash grabs. But here's the thing. Was this really just about loyalty to the WNBA? Or was there more behind Clark's decision than what we've been told? So why reject what seemed like the deal of a lifetime? The reasons were layered. First, there's loyalty. Caitlin Clark wasn't just another rookie signing autographs and chasing endorsement deals. She came into the WNBA with a mission to prove women's basketball could be just as culturally relevant as the men's game. Jumping ship for the Big Three might have been a cash grab, but it would have sent a message that the WNBA wasn't good enough. Second, there was risk. The Big Three is stacked with former NBA athletes, bigger, stronger, and more physical. Playing in that environment as a 23-year-old still adjusting to the pro game could have exposed Clark to injuries that might derail her entire career. Why risk it all for 10 weeks of money when the long game promises so much more? And then there's the bigger picture. Endorsements. Nike, Gatorade, State Farm. Caitlin already has deals lined up that eclipse what many WNBA veterans could dream of. Choosing the Big Three would have jeopardized those relationships. Instead, she turned the $15 million down and solidified herself as the face of women's basketball. Behind the scenes, league executives were panicking. Imagine the WNBA without Caitlin Clark, its biggest draw, its ratings magnet, the player responsible for sold-out arenas across the country. The idea that she might take her talents to Ice Cube's half-court league triggered a full-blown crisis. First came denial. She wouldn't really do it, would she? Then anger. How dare another league try to poach our star? Then bargaining. Maybe we can restructure her marketing deals, sweeten her sponsorships, find creative loopholes to compensate her. Then came the dark stage, depression. What if we lose her? What if she decides loyalty isn't enough? And finally, when the news broke that she declined, there was relief. Pure, unfiltered relief. The WNBA had dodged what one analyst called a financial nuclear bomb. But relief doesn't erase the brutal math. Caitlin Clark will earn roughly $400,000 across 4 years in the WNBA. That's less than what she could have pocketed in a single Big Three matchup. Of course, Clark's decision didn't just shake executives. It rattled her peers too. Jealousy has always stalked greatness, and Caitlin Clark has felt its sting since her college days. When All-Star voting rolled around, she led fan voting with over 1.2 million ballots, shattering league records. Media outlets ranked her third among guards. And yet, when the player votes came in, her peers ranked her ninth, behind names that had nowhere near her impact. Basketball legend Dick Vitale didn't mince words. This wasn't about performance, it was about jealousy. Players resented her spotlight, her endorsement deals, her ability to shift ticket sales and TV contracts with a single jump shot. Instead of celebrating what she brought to the league, some were more interested in cutting her down. But Caitlin never bit back. She just kept playing. For all the chatter, numbers tell the real story. Clark's debut WNBA game drew 2.1 million viewers, the highest in more than 2 decades. The Indiana Fever sold more tickets in their first 5 home games with Clark than they did across the entire 2023 season. When a Fever vs. Mystics game had to be moved from a 4,100-seat arena to a 20,000-seat NBA arena and still sold out, it stopped being just a basketball game. It became a cultural event. Families drove across state lines just to be there. Kids wore Caitlin Clark jerseys to school. The ripple effects extended far beyond the court. Economists at Indiana University calculated Clark's rookie season pumped $36 million into Indianapolis alone. Merchandise sales for the WNBA skyrocketed by 266% year-over-year, and her rookie trading card sold at auction for $660,000, more than her entire 4-year WNBA contract. If money talks, Clark is the loudest voice women's basketball has ever had. And this is where Caitlin Clark's decision becomes historic. Because she wasn't just turning down money. She was making a statement. Clark sees the WNBA not as it is, but as it could be. A global brand. A serious entertainment property. Something that little girls dream of being a part of. By rejecting the Big Three, she told the world, this league is worth investing in. And the ripple effect is already showing. Upcoming collective bargaining negotiations are projected to push maximum WNBA salaries closer to $1 million, a 300% increase. That wouldn't even be possible if Clark had walked away. Instead, she's building the foundation for the next generation. When asked about her decision, Clark never framed it as sacrifice. She didn't posture about loyalty or martyrdom. Instead, she deflected back to fans, back to the mothers bringing their kids to games, back to the next generation of athletes who now dream of playing under bright lights. It's not about her. It's about legacy, about creating something lasting instead of chasing a temporary payday. That humility, combined with her undeniable star power, is what makes her more than just an athlete. It makes her a visionary. Caitlin Clark just turned down the kind of money that most people couldn't even imagine.
Clark, the Big 3 reportedly offered Caitlin Clark $15 million for 10 games. For 10 games. That is insane. That's wild. And it says she declined. That's a lot of chicken to turn down. I can't lie to you. I can't lie to you. I literally can't. I can't. That is insane. I don't know, bro. 15 million for 10 games. Whew.
But in doing so, she chose something bigger. She chose the grind of packed WNBA arenas, the roar of fans who see her as a trailblazer, and the chance to rewrite the story of women's basketball forever. The WNBA dodged disaster this time. But the question lingers, what happens when the next massive offer comes? Will her loyalty still hold? Or will the league finally recognize her true worth before someone else makes her an offer too big to refuse? One thing is certain. Caitlin Clark has already proven that champions aren't just made by hitting shots on the court. Sometimes, they're made by walking away from fortune to build something even more valuable. Legacy.